Three, two, one.
Yes, it's called Cyrus Says, and this time we're spot on, bang on time. I'm in my government office, as Amit and Silverie call it, my dad's old law office. Please understand the reasons why we're here. My dad was a lawyer. He's not in great health right now, so he's not using the place anymore. So now his poetic son, who has never held a job, doesn't wear long pants, is in a normal lawyer sort of cabin. And hence it looks a little stark for someone with my colorful personality. But I'm changing the game here. We have to keep reinventing the wheel on our show, and that's why we stay where we are at a mediocre level of success. I think once a week at least, because English is now a foreign language to most people, I'm going to use a new word from the dictionary, the Oxford Dictionary, which I held up. I don't know if you can see it. I'll hold it up again quickly. This is it. Yep, it's still number one. Forget the sad part about Oxford is today it's known as a vaccine, but it actually used to be a big powerhouse of words. That's gone forever. So I'm going to take one word a week at least from the Oxford, and let's see if my friends can give me the usage of it in a sentence, because that's always the fun part. The word I've chosen is autocephalous. It's AUTO, boys. CEPHALOUS. Yes.
Aut-
Okay.
I can come up with a sentence.
Please
Aut-
do.
Autocephalus is a strange word.
Very nice. Very nice. So you passed. Silver, you're in trouble because you can't use the same one.
No,
Then
it's
I'll tell
fine.
you the meaning. Come on.
Okay, autocephalus,
Auto
I
is
don't
it?
know the meaning of.
Very good. You guys are brilliant geniuses. Okay, I'll just tell you. It's appointing its own head, not subject to the authority of an external patriarch or archbishop. It's a church word. It's part of church culture. All right.
Okay.
So that's a new word you've learned. Say it. Auto.
Autosyphilis, getting
Cephalus.
It's not syphilis. It's not a disease. It's syphilis. All right, guys, wasting my time trying to teach English to those who actually know it. Unbelievable. Let's get on with the show. We've got lots of interesting topics. It's called Cyrus Says. I don't know why I have to say that. But Silvery, today you've outdone yourself because you've taken six of the very best.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Let's want
What's
to just
up?
get started.
Yeah, let's go right into it.
All
Unless
right,
you
the
have a.
first juicy topic of the day comes from Kunal Kamra and his affidavit reply to the Supreme Court contempt plea that had been filed against him.
what is the why
Some
did he get
great
the?
quote come out of that. Firstly,
No, I was just asking why did
yeah,
the
please go ahead.
why was he fired? What was the contempt filing over? It was a few months ago. I can't really remember
The
what it
Air
was.
India flight
Yeah,
on
Was it
off
that?
incident,
Was it over
right?
that? No, I don't think it was
No, no,
over
no,
no.
not
But
that.
when
that. No, no, no,
he
no,
took on
no,
the
no.
judgment, right?
Yeah, he took out.
The court had come up with. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he had posted a couple of tweets also, basically showing the BJP jhanda on the
Yeah,
Supreme
yeah,
Court
yeah.
of
Oh
India,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
that
Right.
kind of
Right. Right.
stuff.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, but country has become so
So yeah,
controversial that we forget. Please, if you're
we
going to be a
forget the controversies.
controversialist, please make sure that you're in the news every week, or we forget your last controversy. Then we can't deal with it. All right, going
Yeah,
forward.
that's true.
So, what
Yeah.
was his?
Again, that's a tip
So
to
he got
Kunal
a.
Kamra. Yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah. He needs
yeah, yeah,
more tips from everybody. It appears. Poor chap. Yeah,
yeah.
go on.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
he
So
gave a
basically,
fitting
some
reply,
great
is what you're
quotes.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, and very gutsy, very ballsy a reply.
Hmm.
And let's see what the Supreme Court has to say after this. So basically, I'll read a few quotes from it. Okay, like for one, the one of the quotes was, "It is funny though how little faith the petitioner appears to have in the people of this country. The suggestion that my tweets could shake the foundations of the most powerful court in the world is an overestimation of my abilities." So it's like just stuff like that throughout. Another one is jokes like these at best make the comfortable squirm in their plush chairs, even as they sit secure in the knowledge that a joke cannot make the heavens fall.
Hmm.
So again, like great, just great quotes. If this court believes I have crossed the line and wants to shut down my internet indefinitely, then I too will write Happy Independence Day postcards every 15th August, just like my Kashmiri friends. So again,
Wow.
this one is one of my favorites. Is he says, brevity may not be a familiar concept for the legal community, but it continues to be the soul of comedy. I would be happy to take advice on comedy from the petitioners, but that requires that they have a sense of humor first.
So who are the petitioners in this case? I don't think it was not. This was the person who filed the contempt of court,
Yeah,
right?
this was
That some
PIL.
one of the
law
people was
student.
some from
the-
Pune.
There was some
Yeah,
law student or something like that. Okay. All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was some
Fair.
law student
Obviously,
from
the
Pune,
law student had so
and
much time on his hands. The rigorous studies are no longer applicable in Pune for some reason, because he had plenty of time to go and file this and go on dealing with all the bureaucratic stuff that you have to when you file something in a court. So I'm most impressed
yeah,
with that. Because back in the day when my father was studying LLB or when I was studying LLB, it was quite cramped, I must tell you.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have time to do this. Anyway, reactions, I mean, this is all obvious. What are we going to say? First,
Nothing.
we can't take on the Supreme Court by law, so we have to be very careful what we say. I'm sitting in a
Correct.
ex-lawyer's office, in a sense, so I'll tell you that. And we discussed this, Amit. Even in America, even in other democracies, it's almost sacrilege. Not exactly. You can criticize, but you as a convention, but you shouldn't. It's like
Well,
that.
so I think the thing is that, yeah, you generally stay away from. I don't know. Actually, in the U.S., they're quite harsh with the Supreme Court when they want to be, because again, the First Amendment's all of this. But in most other democracies, it is a lot. There is this weird aspect of contempt of court, right? I mean, like in the sense that you're not allowed to comment on judgments and stuff like that. It's just
There was
strange.
an ad for Fanta or one of these things with Govinda playing a judge over the top, and it
Wow.
had to be recalled because somebody, one law student in Pune, I suppose in the 90s,
Hmm.
the father of the guy who did it just now, probably went berserk and said you're disrespecting the whole judiciary in a sense,
But
which
then
is
what?
no.
That's a bit too far, though, right? I mean, like,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, but I don't want to criticize the court, so I'd rather you do it. Yeah.
oh, I don't want to either, because again,
Silver, you
I
go for it. You're young. You can spend 10 years in jail. You won't even know. Just grow your beard in peace. Yeah. The hats off to Kunal Kamra. He's got what
For sure.
exactly the word you used, ballsy, more than anything else. He stood by his conviction. And for that, you really have to salute him.
Yeah.
Whether you were
For
a
sure.
friend of the government's or someone who believes in free speech, you have to salute the fact that he's got the guts. I mean, he's got no real influence. Nobody seems to. I know a few political parties, they say are backing him, but, there's only one party in power right now. So the others don't really count. So it takes a lot of guts to do this. And it's really sad that not to take the side of comedy. I hate that. Why would we ever have to do that? But we live in a world where people can't express themselves without having to apologize or backtrack, and that just kills the sense of cognitive functioning that we have of
Yeah.
any kind. I don't see the point of going forward.
Yeah.
What kind of world are we going to give the next generation? What are we going to say to each other in this PC world of fascist, neo-fascist fear world, whatever you want to call it?
No, but
Yep.
so it's really interesting, right? I mean, like, I was so. Do you know who Andrew Sullivan is? He's a conservative. He's this gay conservative guy who came to prominence during the Clinton administration as a critic of them, right? But he's a deep thinker around these ideas, right? I mean, like around freedom and freedom of speech and how people discuss these various things. And he was kind of laying this out, right? I mean, like, the difference between the lack of or basically how the left and the right, the extreme left and the extreme right, have both become these polar opposites when it comes to wanting to repress speech, right? But both in different ways. The right approaches it from a sense of authoritarianism, the left approaches it from a sense of victimhood, right? That, I mean, like, and this idea that so I mean, like, the
So
authoritarianism.
that's got to do with the right being in power and the left not being in power, I
Oh
would
no, I
think,
don't. I don't think it is.
because
I
you
think,
have the functioning institutions to use at
well,
your behest to bully and cajole, if you like.
no, but even out of power, it is an authoritarian impulse, right? When you're talking from the right side, right? It is basically this idea that you must do this in a particular way, and the government should be able, or rather, those in power should be able to shut you down. The left comes at it from a perception of victimhood, right? Where what you're looking at over there is this idea that the only lens which you examine the only lens which you examine ideas or conflicts from is a lens of what your identity is, what your victim identity is. And in that case, the person who comes with the more oppressed always wins, because that's the world we live in today. It's a really interesting it's a really interesting way of putting it. I think it's, again, it's very academic in the sense that it doesn't.
Look, let's look at this from a point of view of practicality. I think most of us in this business, so-called funny business, have to always be a little careful. That's a given. Guys like Kunal Kamra are really against the mold in a sense because he's almost unfettered, which I would
Mhm,
love to be sometimes. And we can be in candid conversations which are not recorded,
mhm.
sipping our chai, but we never do that actually. So you've got to take your hat out to that fact that he can be unfettered like that, because otherwise we all toe the line in some way from the point of view of we
if
have to live here and we have to adjust, which
if
I
there
also like because I think it's creative and innovative to try and make your point without going across a line and going berserk because in an obvious way, because that's also creative if you
but
can do it layered in a layered manner.
I agree with you in that sense, but I also think that, I mean, like, if there aren't people like Kunal to push the envelope, then basically the envelope shuts really, really close.
Listen, I'm not trying to sell ourselves out here. We are guilty of cowardice. There's no question about that. The courage of your convictions is a little. I think it's a lot easier when you're 19 than when you're 49. I got to put it that way.
Yeah,
I think
that's
when I
true.
was shooting early days with Bakra and all that, I never thought twice about anything.
Yeah.
But now in the last 5-6 years, not necessarily just because of the government, you just start opening your mind to. You've got kids, old parents, worlds are crumbling. There's more fear as you age. This is the one gift we can give young people. You will only feel more fear slowly as you age. So trust me, whatever you feel now, this is the best. It just gets more fearful. Kunal Kamra at 64 will if he survives till 64, um, we are all hoping all's good. Yeah. But anyway, so I think hats off to him. That's all I'll say because I will not take on the Supreme Court. It's against the law. And we live in a country and there are laws. It's like a club, where privileged members get to do things and less privileged don't get to do things. So you want to continue to be a privileged member, you have to play by the ball slightly, little bit. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
Silverie, why did you say
especially
something? See,
especially at a time when there is already a comedian in jail.
yeah, well,
Yeah, I'm
that's
saying
an
like especially at a
English-speaking
time when
comedian,
there's already a
but from there you can move to journalists and people who express their opinions away from just comedy. Because the whole idea is about stopping anybody whose thought process or ideas are different from what is mandated by a certain gang of people who are trying to hold reins and control. I mean, this is not India. This is a story of the last 10,000 years of people in power. You
Yeah.
get rid of any thought process which is against you because thought is the most dangerous thing. Sooner or later, that one thought can escalate and you can't control it, and boom, Che Guevara is at your doorstep wearing no clothes and smelling, which I'm told he did a lot. Because in
Yeah.
South America, you sweat a lot. It's a tropical country. You got to be careful about that. The chicks loved him, by the way. So obviously, odor is not the worst thing in the world. Coming back to Kunal Kamra, what is your thought, Silverie?
I feel again just
No, what
I'm
would you
blown
do?
away.
Well,
What would I do?
if you were in
Man,
the same situation, would you take on all these
no,
institutions or would you back off?
I think I would back off because
And remember,
I
your
don't.
mom and dad will be telling you, bro, bhai,
Yeah,
think
exactly
about all
because
that pressure. Yeah.
already my parents will think it's my fault only because my dad is already a supporter of the ruling party or what have you.
Huh. My
Uh,
God. You're going to
yeah.
become like that film Shakti, Dilip Kumar, Amitabh Bachchan. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen it, but Amit has. That's horrible.
but
I
I
You haven't
just
seen
feel that
Shakti?
I've seen it
Huh.
many times.
Yeah.
Well, I think in my mind, for my money, probably Amitabh's best movie ever.
I think,
oh yeah.
dare I say it? I think he outacted the great Dilip Kumar.
He did, without a doubt.
Yeah, but let's get back to those are happier times. Let's just for a second understand one thing. This guy is definitely on a pedestal. You got to understand that there's not too many people like this guy in the whole world.
Yeah.
I've seen him. He worked at MTV. He's a quiet fellow, a little, sweet guy. I can't remember much. He was really fat. That's what I remember. And I remember saying, just like the other Kunal, which is my Kunal, who would come and fetch me in from time to time. But the point is, you've got to understand this takes a certain level of bravery, serious
Yeah.
bravery.
It,
And
it, it
I
really
hope people
does.
understand that.
I would say that it really does, especially, I mean, like, consider Munawar is still
Munawar
in
still in
jail.
jail. Yep.
Bail was denied again.
Amit,
Denied again. Yeah.
all that is correct, but also
Yeah.
remember he has never taken a backward step. He could have taken it 150 times. They tried to reach out and compromise with him. There are certain
Yeah.
things they've said or whatever, so you can just back off. He's not backed off. He's stuck to his art, and for that you have to respect him. He'll go down with the ship, unfortunately, maybe, but the respect
Absolutely.
is unbelievable, and the bravery and courage. Is he mad? I would say, if I was Mr. Kamra Senior, I'd be like, "Beta, BSc kar lo, BSc kar lo, the worst degree in the world, but don't do a comedy." Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so that's that for that topic. But
Yeah.
it's a bit sad that
Yeah.
other people don't speak up in support. And when I say other people, I mean all the great Indians, because there are plenty of great Indians who don't necessarily disagree with Kunal Kamra, but out of fear they will not speak up to support him, and that's sad. It's a bit like the gay community. I always felt the gay community in India was led down by the high-profile gay men who were in industry, who were in perhaps the military, who were in politics, who were builders or whatever. People who could really make a difference. If they said, "Look, I'm gay," what are you going to do about it? No one can. They were untouchables. They didn't come forward, and the gay
Yeah.
community always had to hang back because they didn't have those leaders. So anyway, Silverie, I'm waiting for you now to be the next controversial comic, fighting
Okay.
your own
Okay.
father on one side and getting the support of
Yeah.
the left from the other side. Wow, you'll finally get to keep a
Yeah.
dog.
What a
Huh.
correct. There should be a movie about my household. That'll be
Yeah.
damn funny.
Shakti, the shorter version.
All right. Let's get to the next topic.
Yes.
Let's.
Next topic. This is quite a funny topic.
But by the
It
way,
has happened before.
sorry
and
to
but
interrupt.
history.
If anything comes in on your chat, please over the camera thing, please let's get into it. Huh? If you're
Okay.
getting,
Sure.
yeah, because that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I know it limits us to just one topic, but what the hell, yaar? Remember
Yeah.
school days? By
no,
the
we can-
third subject, you lost interest in the day. It's too much to take in.
Cool,
No,
cool.
it
We
is. No,
we can
yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Antariksh.
I'm saying we can just, yeah, we can circle back to it if someone
Alrighty.
posts like a good question about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one next topic comes in from Karnataka. This basically is history repeating itself. A Congress MLC was Prakash Rathod, his name is, was caught browsing porn on his phone at a legislative assembly in Karnataka. So again, this is just
So you
hilarious.
got to be very careful
We've
on this
talked about
one.
it before, where we had the possibility of maybe the last time we talked about maybe the possibility is that legislative assemblies and like these government buildings are the only place where porn is still accessible. Like Pornhub's websites and all are still accessible, and that's why they do it there.
Well, the Wi-Fi is the key, I suppose. The
Yeah.
interconnections are. I mean, that's fair enough. This is a logistical point. I accept that. I'm a little pro porn. And before you something at me, my reason being, and I may be wrong, is I feel that the repressed sexuality can get a lease there. And I know some people think that you have all these weird pornographic sites and all that, and then they misbehave and treat women objectively and all that. Like, come on, don't talk rubbish. Men are always going to think in a certain way, but if you can control that and release it in quiet of their homes or parliament, whichever. I mean, that's not my business. I think that's a much safer option. We used to do that with animals, with a dog a male dog who's got, or even bigger animals, predatory animals. They've done it. You actually get them off with a plastic bag. Who gets to do that depends on your position in the hierarchy of that organization. But you do that, and the dog or the animal gets a release, and then hopefully, is okay for some time. So for me, not the worst crime in India's litany of crimes at the moment against humanity. I'm okay. I'm not so anti-porn, but Amit is. I know.
Yeah.
Amit.
No, I'm
But
not anti-porn, but I honestly, I don't. I just feel like the more this has happened over and over and over again, right? And it is
You're
a
talking about the politician not doing his professional work, whatever that is.
no, but I mean, like it's just it's such a bizarre story, right? I mean, like in some ways, it's like why are so I think we've had this before
Amit,
earlier.
somebody sent him a link at that point, yaar. You
Oh.
know how you
no, so I'll
guys
tell you the
are.
excuse.
You get a link on the spot and boom, you have to see it wherever the hell you are. And if it's inappropriate, you're bad luck.
No,
That could
but
have happened.
I'm
Yeah.
just trying to understand what is this sense of that. Okay, I'm gonna watch porn in public. I don't
No, so I'll
understand
tell
that.
you.
It's a small
I'll tell you the
screen.
excuse
You
he
watch it like that. Oh, go on.
Yeah, but you're
uh,
okay.
he had an excuse. His excuse when camera people caught him. So his excuse to the media was, no. I was basically I was trying to post a question that I needed to ask in the assembly. So I was talking to my peers about what question I can ask. And while doing that, I realized there's not enough insufficient space on my phone. So that's why I was deleting unwanted messages from my phone, and that's when I browsed through this by mistake, is what he said.
Okay.
That's his
Perfectly
excuse.
acceptable as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. He's completely innocent. He has never, ever browsed porn in his life. He's a Sharif Admi, as we say in India. I've got no problem with this guy. He's absolutely correct. Amit?
I don't know what to make of this shit, right?
He
Like,
was trying to talk to his colleagues to ask a more sophisticated political question. He was texting, and for some reason, he realized he had to get rid of some stuff because the phone was getting blocked.
but I mean, like, it's a transparent lie, and I'm like, why would you? But I don't understand people who. How is this like? I mean, you're you're a politician. You're a member of the legislative assembly, right? Like seriously, go watch porn in your own privacy, right? Why the fuck are you watching it on why are you watching it here like this? It's just I don't get it.
Maybe
I don't understand this.
I'm
Like
pulling this
how
out of my hat. Maybe, and of course, please correct me immediately. Just like with the Supreme Court, I don't want to go against political institutions, but maybe there's a chance that there are some members of Parliament or MLAs who are really not interested in the job. I mean, is that a possibility?
that's
I
a
mean,
100% a possibility,
really
right?
not in play to help society or help India or good governance. I mean, these are
But
why do you even really? This is like us in college. This is
but
junior college when you're really not paying attention. Imagine if we had this
Yeah.
stuff. We'd be going berserk between sports and sex. I can't think of anything else.
oh yeah, I mean like just Playboy and Debonair was enough to kind of distract you. So I mean like
Yeah. And Debonair was about 4 pages of naked women. That's all we got. For which you pick up the whole damn thing. I used to always ask the guy, "Can I get it for 50 paisa or 1 rupee instead of $3, the second-hand copy?" And I'll only pull out those pages. So what am I going to do with the rest? There'll be some how to mix ghee and sugar or something in your chai. Those kind of articles are also there. What the hell am I going to do with that? It kills your feeling.
But I mean,
But
like, am I wrong in kind of just thinking that there's a sense of entitlement that is coming across in here that I can do
yep,
whatever I want to, wherever the fuck I want to.
fearlessness, like Kamra, but from another angle. There's
Yeah,
a fearlessness.
I mean, like, I'm just thinking that I cannot think of a public situation where somebody would send me a porn link and I would click it at that point in time. I can't think of that
No,
situation.
I put a sports reference to it. Imagine you're an NBA player, obviously a Virat Kohli about to bat or something. Nobody going to work who is really focused is going to be doing that.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's no question of
Yeah.
focus or interest. There's no consciousness going on. You're disconnected
Yeah.
from what you're doing. That's when you do that. When you're on a train, when you're on a long drive, if you do it in public, I'm saying. You'll never ever do it when you're focused on your craft, whatever the
Right.
hell it is. So you can just
Right.
understand that these guys are just there because they're there to make up numbers.
Don't give
Oh,
a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I applaud him. I would teach
So
him a word in English for that. I'll find
y-
it later.
you brought up the MVP. You brought up the NBA, and I just want to address
Oh,
Harvesh
my
P.
mistake.
Kasad.
I apologize to
No,
everybody.
so one of our commenters is of the weird impression that the Nets are going to win the Eastern Conference, and I just wanted to say that they're wrong. Very, 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 very wrong.
No, no, I
Okay.
agree with Harvesh.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure.
think
Yeah,
Silvery and I
he's
will
right.
stick to
Yeah.
because our base is pawn. We'll just stick there. You do the basketball, and the twain will never meet. We'll keep it separate. Yeah. Oh, what a guy. Imagine now, I know we want to go to break and all that, but just imagine his kids. I mean, if they're young kids and the story
Yep.
breaks all over the internet and people are joking like we are just now. Imagine he's got
Yeah.
like a 14-year-old son who's going to school. He's going to get jacked.
I know.
Can you imagine how he,
Very
I
true.
mean,
Hey, can you have your dad send me some porn, please?
yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
like,
can you?
bro, get dad for the birthday party, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah. Tell your dad to. Yeah. Why is
Yeah.
it illegal? Tell your dad to legalize it, bro. Why
And
is
what
blocking
happens
all
to
the
his
websites?
wife at
Yep.
the beauty parlor or wherever the hell she goes with the lady friends? How's that going to be met with?
Oh, there
Yeah.
is a closely related story that I had on my topics that I didn't tell you beforehand. Was in the US, a woman got arrested for stabbing her husband. Why did she stab her husband? Because she found pictures on his
No,
phone
you
of
told
him having
us
sex.
with her younger self, no?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
told
that's the
us,
one.
bro, you got Alzheimer's already. You just, you're 20
I didn't
odd.
tell you this.
We played this out. How would I know? You played this out. We played it out. We played it
Oh,
out
we did.
before.
Okay.
It turned out to be pictures of her when she
Uh,
was younger. She didn't realize it,
yeah,
got really angry, and
yeah,
then obviously it was too late. Yeah, you did tell
yeah.
us. Uh,
Maybe you guys spoke about it
Correct.
before I
So
came
hey,
on
that's
because
the
I
one.
didn't know
I don't
about
know.
it.
I
no,
don't
you weren't on the
know.
show that day, but
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
tell you very quickly. The big, no problem repeating it because here the lesson to be learned is very simple. It's not about anything else. That when you engage in a relationship with a lady or man or whatever, if they are super possessive, you be careful. If they have history of being super jealous, super possessive, you be careful because it triggers. It's a trigger that
Yeah.
just goes off, and there's no in-depth. What do you think? Research will happen. I mean, the woman couldn't even make out it was herself. Just triggered because the girl looked in better shape, I presume, and younger from whatever the picture was, and that was too late. She stabbed him. If he just had a less jealous sort of relationship, the woman would have taken a little more time to go from 0 to 100. So that's the lesson I get out of that. Yeah. Also, probably don't take pictures of yourself having sex. They always come back to harm you. It's just
Yeah.
what good comes of that? Who watches it and says, "Wow, man, I appreciate you so much. Now I know you're a member of parliament in India.
Yeah.
Well done." Yeah.
Yeah, but the poor husband was just living the good old days. He had like found an old email and he found these pictures on that email. And so he downloaded them on his phone and his wife saw it. And she recognized her husband, but she couldn't recognize herself because of all the makeup and all, it seems. So that's sad.
Wow, it's a great story. It
Yeah.
deserved a part two. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All
So
right, should we take a break? Okay,
let's
cool.
take a break, but let's come back with the question Cyrus somebody is asking over here, which is Cyrus, what's your thoughts on midget porn? We'll come back with that answer.
I only brought that up. He's throwing
You
it
want
back at me. We'll
he's
take a
throwing it
break
back at you.
while I quickly surf. All right, we're back and midget porn. So I used to have this conversation with while drinking when I was drinking heavily with the lads. You sit around and you ask them, you put them into sexual situations. Guys, come on, I'm sure you've done this. I don't want to do this on the. I'm not Kunal Kamra, but you know where I'm
Yeah.
going with this. Come on, guys.
Yes,
And then you're
yes.
having a drink because then people tend to lie more, whatever. It's just like, what would you do it with a midget? Okay, don't use that word with a person who's vertically challenged, horizontally challenged. What is the word? Vertically
I
challenged. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Little
vertical.
person. I think isn't that
I thought little person is even more rude.
it does seem a little more rude, but that's the
But I
that's
think
another.
that's the
Let's ask Kunal Kamra. Whatever he uses, we use the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my answer is like most people, I think we have two sides to our personality. The conservatives' normal side will just go crazy and say no, but you never know what will happen in your life. Art and real life and fiction, oh, sorry, art and life are honestly inseparable at certain points, as we find out.
Mm.
So I've decided not to commit to anything. Including my marriage. I don't say we were married forever. Every week we work on it. Who knows what's going to happen next? But as fetishes go, I've always dreamt of, like I'm like this guy with, you know, Akbar the Great, Jalaluddin, lovely man, had 950 concubines, to use that phrase. Okay, and he
Okay.
was not the biggest. There were guys with bigger harems than that, if that's the right word. So I've had that thought in my head a lot. And then, of course, I can't handle one woman, so you realize it's a waste of everybody's time. But Silvery, would you go with the vertically little person thing? How do are you
Yeah, I
okay
have
with
no
it, or do you have
problems.
issues? Could you fall in love?
Hey man, see, yeah, of course. I
You
really don't
could. So
mind.
you're not prejudiced in the
It
point where
just
I don't like
I have
that.
to be attracted to the person. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's okay. Whether
No,
they're
no.
not or tall and all has not ever been a major problem with you.
Yeah, not really.
Tell the
Just don't
truth,
look.
because
Just
this will
don't look
save
like
for
a.
posterity.
Yeah,
No?
don't
Yeah.
look like a kid. And yeah, fine. I
Don't look
guess.
like a kid. Now, where did you take that?
I'm
You
just
you
saying.
you've
Just
got
think about it.
pedophile issues which I don't want to get
You
into.
don't know.
We,
You
we
don't.
never
You never know, man.
listen. They're
Yeah.
just absolutely normal people with less height.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, yeah.
face and all is matured completely. It's not
I
like some
know.
kid with a bow tie.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Oof,
I'm joking.
ouch. I won't ask you questions again, mister. You're dangerous. Yeah. Amit, do you have any pet sexual peeve you'd like to share? Not peeve, a fetish.
Not really.
Yeah. It's a
I,
difficult
He
thing to
wouldn't like
open
to
up to.
share.
yeah, exactly. I can't think of anything that would be
So you want to take on the Supreme Court, but
terrible.
none of you will open up and tell me about your sexual lives. Unbelievable. How is this
Oh,
show going to go anywhere if people are going to hold back?
we've been sitting at home for a year, dude.
So your sex life and mine are the same, is what you're saying. Fair enough. Yeah. At least you don't have my excuse. I'm married. Yep. Okay.
Um,
All right.
cool.
The next one.
So then again, there are a couple of questions about the GameStop thing. Cyrus, what did you think of that? Did you hear about it?
Yeah, we sort of spoke about it for 2 minutes off air, and I'm so perplexed. I would let Silvery get back into it. This is the short trading thing, right?
The short range. Okay,
Yeah, correct. Short selling.
let me do this. I'll give you
Yeah.
guys a little bit of context and then you guys think, okay?
Yeah.
So Wall Street Bets is a subreddit, okay? On Wall Street Bets, they basically, a bunch of people talk about what they think are good investing strategies. They put screenshots of their portfolios and stuff like that. There's this one guy over there called Deep Fucking Value, who that's his username. In 2019, he made a bet that GameStop is a good stock because his belief is that a lot of the new consoles that are coming out are going to be again with discs rather than through downloads. And so because of that, he thinks GameStop stocks are going to increase. Conversely, at the same time, a bunch of hedge funds believed that GameStop is going to go bust in the next few years. So they started shorting it heavily, right? And to short a stock means that basically you borrow stock from somebody else and you sell it before you buy it. And then you have to buy it back and make it whole. You're making a bet on the stock price falling. Now, what happened over here is that Deep Fucking Value put a lot of kind of like, got a lot of people on Reddit really, really interested in this. Now, the amount of stock that these guys had shorted, the two big hedge funds had, was 140% of the number of outstanding shares that GameStop had. And when a bunch of people started buying and holding the stock, all of a sudden, they are unable to buy back their stock to return the stock so that they can return it to the people who they bought from. So essentially, two hedge funds got caught. The larger one got caught to the tune of $2.5 billion loss,
Yeah.
and some of these people made 400, 500 times their money.
Yeah.
Right.
The total loss that these hedge funds were dealt were about 5.5 billion or something.
Correct.
Something
And
like that.
it turned into like a massive kind of this because now what's happening over here is that these are the games that hedge funds always play. They
Yeah.
look for stocks which are which they think are going to crash, or they look for stocks which are over leveraged, and they play these games. Over here, for the first time, it was not a hedge fund that played this game, but it
Mhm.
was a group of individual retail investors who are typically
Yeah.
called dumb money. They played this game and they beat the hedge funds at it, and which is why a lot of people are super happy. They look at this as
Yeah.
a extension of that, the
Free markets kind of system.
not the free markets. What was the Wall Street?
Bringing out the big guns.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
bringing on the
So
big one, right? What was the Wall Street protest that happened 10 years ago?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called,
Oh,
but it was called
the
something. No?
second Wall Street street protest was don't build the wall, which was after Trump came on.
That was a different one.
Ignore that. Go on. Yeah.
But it's a story of class warfare. It's a story of like power
Yeah,
of
but they're
social
trying to
media.
make it into
Yeah.
a small guy punches big guy, but it's just a daylight robbery.
No, it
Yeah.
is a small guy punching a big guy. How is it a lot of robbery? Nobody robbed anybody.
No, so the hedge funds do the exact same thing, but these
Yeah,
guys just played their one at their own game, basically.
Hence
they
the
they
word hedge.
yeah
But
they
but because that has happened, aren't they suggesting now that they want to change regulations and laws around this?
well, so not really. The thing is that they're trying to figure out what laws were broken here, if any, and none seem to have been broken. Right.
Ah, okay,
But
nice.
what wound up happening though is that because GameStop as a stock became so volatile, a lot of trading platforms had to shut down GameStop.
Amit, why can't we do this?
Well, so in India, you're not allowed to short sell with long positions. You're only allowed to
See, I'm with Kunal Kamra on this again.
no.
It's
You
unbelievable.
in India, anybody is allowed to short sell. It's actually easier to short sell in India, but you can only do a day trade. You have to square your position in the night by
You
the end
by
of
night
market.
you have to re.
By end of market, you have to square your position. So
Oh,
you
you
can
only have
own
one
one
working
day
day
at
to
a
do it.
one day at a time,
So you'll have
and
to
then
get
you
lots
can
of
do
people involved to make a huge.
and then you can do it
Effect.
again tomorrow, and you can do it again tomorrow, and you can do it again tomorrow, and you can do it again tomorrow. But it is a in India, it's a
By
24-hour
night you have to
settlement.
return it. Oh,
You have to do a settlement, same day settlement has to be done.
okay.
Ah, okay.
Oof.
So we're less likely to have
Maybe
these
that's what
kinds.
they need. If they maybe that's one way to
Oh.
sort of curtail it.
Well, it is also, I mean, like, should the hedge funds to some degree be like when you're doing short sales, right? I mean, like, should there be a limit to what percentage of a stock outstanding could be sold short? I mean, like, there were 140% more short sale orders than there were actual that there was stock because the people who own the stock were lending it out to more than one piece, more than one person.
Yes. So the
And so
numbers don't make sense.
no, and so then
Excellent.
that also that's what led to the squeeze, right? If there was
Yeah.
if it was not that deeply short sold, the squeeze would not be that hard.
And there's no illegality to it. So there's no question of
I
penalties.
don't think that there is any illegality to it. If anything, the only illegality or the thing that people are that could be somewhat illegal is the fact that platforms like Robinhood and E-Trade had to stop GameStop. Because now what is happening is that when you're no longer allowed to buy GameStop, but the larger hedge funds are able to recover their or able to buy in, right? The prices are starting to crash, and so they're basically being able to kind of this. So was there pressure put on these people, which is unnecessary?
Was
It doesn't look like it. It looks like they've given a real answer that basically for
was
trading.
one of the dumb players Donald Trump? Because
Well, Donald Trump is Donald Trump, but they're doing this in a bunch of other stocks as well, right? So I'm sure Donald. So Donald Trump, given the
I better call my
AMC.
sister who lives there.
yeah.
She may have stock that she doesn't have now.
Yeah, no,
Check.
these kinds of financial shenanigans, Donald Trump companies 100% can get involved in them because you know that he's doing all kinds of shady shit, right?
Hmm.
And you get caught in this stuff. And again, it's not like GameStop was doing anything shady, but there was shady stuff happening around the stock, right? And that's where this kind of stuff gets caught up.
Yeah.
Okay. I think too much
And
financial
Elon
acumen.
Yes.
Musk's at Elon Musk Elon
Yeah.
Musk at some point tweeted about it, and because of that, there was another surge in the game stock. He just
Yeah.
tweeted like game stonks or something like that. And
Well, I know. So Elon Musk did, Mark Cuban did. A lot of people were very, very happy that the hedge funds are getting screwed because the hedge funds have been screwing people for years and
yeah, yeah,
years and years and years, right? I mean, like
yeah.
they have these quote unquote idea dinners, which are essentially just like 10 hedge fund guys getting together and talking about what they think is going to happen. And how is that not insider trading?
An
Yeah,
oligarchic system
correct.
as well.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, I like
So
insider
basically,
trading. I don't know why
what
it's
the
such a bad
Robin
thing. Huh.
Huh.
what the Robinhood app did, they stopped sale or they stopped buying. You couldn't
they
buy
stopped
more.
they stopped
They shut
buying
down.
so they stopped buying, so basically people were buying and holding so that the hedge funds
Yeah,
could not get access to more shares to buy to sell, right? Without unless they're buying at these high
yeah.
prices. And yeah, so what happened is that Robinhood shut down buying, so
Uh,
individual retail investors could no longer buy the stocks.
And to
that should be illegal, no? Why would
Well, no,
they?
but
Why would they just stop?
they gave a so the thing is that on Thursday the CEO came and gave a definition of a bad explanation of what was going on. Like the very definition of the bad of a bad explanation he did when he went on CNBC and a bunch of other places. You're looking at him like, dude, what are you saying? Because what he's saying is like that basically, yeah, we decided to shut it down because it's too volatile, right? But
Mhm.
then a couple of days later, they put out like a detailed blog post about what actually happened. And what happened is that if you're trading in stocks which are this volatile, you have to put large deposits into clearinghouses. right? And so the deposit that Robinhood required for GameStop stock itself to continue trading was in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
So what do they do now?
So they raised money quickly at a discount so that they could put the money inside, but it took a day or two for them to be able to do that.
Wow.
Okay.
Oof.
Okay. Fair.
All right. It's
Yeah,
very
I
upsetting for people
very
who under just the
who did
usage of
yeah, no, I
uh,
wish I knew about this.
billions of dollars and
Yeah.
hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's just the fact
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
can talk about it and we
Yeah,
can't. That
yeah.
upsets me.
No,
More the procedure, not so much. All right, can
But
we squeeze in?
sorry. One
Yeah.
quick thing. I was watching an interview with Jordan Belfort on this, the original Wolf of Wall Street, and he was saying, "Okay, now what will happen is hedge funds are also smart. They're not dumb. So they will basically find this short selling thing won't last for that much longer. Like this whole people get coming together and then buying a lot of stock of this one thing to increase the price. This form won't work too much. So people who are thinking, okay, oh, I'll use the same process in like a month and then become rich. That's not gonna happen because hedge funds are also smart. They will have find a workaround to all
they will
this.
adjust to it, right? I mean, like we
Yeah,
have
they'll adjust to
basically
it.
the simple solution was don't do it to this many shares. You
Huh.
know, make a smaller bet. If there was a smaller bet around it, this would never have happened. But the thing is that number of shares outstanding were low. 140% were already committed towards this short sell,
Yeah.
right? So that meant that it basically created a situation where the possibility of squeeze was high, and because of that, and these guys had to make their positions, right? They have to
Mhm.
return the shares to the people they're buying, otherwise it costs them more and more money, right?
Yeah.
And so because of that, they have to buy no matter what. So it was a perfect storm in that sense. It's unlikely that something like this happens to this degree again, but again, you know, the mechanism is there for this stuff to happen.
So we're discussing all this on the day India is announcing its budget for year
I know.
Yeah.
2021.
Wow.
That's an interesting poetic sort of story. And I just
Yes.
want to quickly point out Indian stocks. How much money do you invest in stocks from your financial portfolio, Amit?
Not much actually. I
Equity? Oh,
mutual funds, not stocks.
okay. So you
Well,
don't touch stocks?
no, I mean, like I have a few here and there, but it's not really. I
Or are
don't
you
do
on the Dow
stocks.
Jones because you got one leg in each country?
No, I don't do stocks, man. Stock picking is hard here. If you know, I mean, like unless you are going to spend all your time doing it, it's almost impossible to kind of do it
So you
well.
don't want
So
to take stock, is what you're saying.
no, I'd rather just put it into like put it into a couple of mutual funds and let those people deal with
And get your
the.
3% after 40 years, like all of us. Yeah, fair
Oh,
enough.
well, I mean, I hope it's not 3% after
It's
40 years.
4.5. I'll give you good news. Let's see how. Tomorrow we'll talk about the budget because it's coming out as we
Yeah,
speak.
we'll see what will happen there.
Yeah, but let's squeeze in. Can we squeeze in another topic? This
Yeah.
financial
Squeeze in one
topic is
last.
so dry,
Yeah,
dying here.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. One last topic. Kangana Ranuat on 30th January,
Ah,
which is
from where to where?
from Mahatma Gandhi's death anniversary. On Mahatma Gandhi's death anniversary, Kangana Ranaut tweeted a post glorifying Nathuram Godse. And if I can just read her exact quote in 1 second, I will just tell you. Are this thing?
See, here's the problem. The problem, without taking sides, is before you say the quote
no, I'm
also.
happy to take a side, dude. I mean, like
No,
she's
no,
wrong.
one thing. My point is different. My point is, you want to put that Faruqi guy in for making comments about religion, this and the other. Okay, but at the same time, she's not allowed to vent against the father of the nation. Without taking sides, I'm just saying, if there's a sense of justice for all, why can't people have opinions? As long as it doesn't lead to violence and that kind of.
You're allowed to have opinions. I would say that the problem is that Munawar Faruqi has not been allowed to have an opinion. He's been thrown in jail for an opinion.
Yeah, but nothing will
Kangana
happen
is
to her.
nothing is going to happen to
Yeah,
her
that's what
and
I'm saying.
her.
It's some of this is the same family, is it not?
Uh,
It is in the same
it's
family.
not.
The sacred cows. They're all sacred
No,
cows, which you
she's
can't
okay.
touch.
She's okay to have her opinion, and I'm okay to call her an idiot. Both things are okay.
So what are you saying?
In Munawar's case, Munawar is okay to crack his jokes, and people are okay to say that, hey, I'm offended by your jokes.
Correct. But
Putting
why is
him
he
in
put in?
jail is a different thing.
Correct. So then they should put Kangana in jail as well, is what I'm saying,
No, they
right?
should not put Kangana in
No, no.
jail.
But since they have done this,
Yeah.
following the letter of the law
They
that's being
should.
practiced as we
Yep.
speak, then anyone who takes on any of our sacred
Yeah.
institutions, whether it's religion or the great men who made the country and who is greater than Gandhi, then I mean, just par for the course as far as I'm concerned.
If you're looking at equivalence, I
Not
would agree
fair.
with you. I would agree
Not
with you.
fair.
It would be equivalent to put her in jail. I don't think she should be in jail. I don't think this guy should be in jail
I
either.
don't think she should be in jail either, and I don't think
Yeah.
he should be in jail. But why we? It's not about what we think. What we think
Uh,
is of no importance.
that is true.
We're like the hedge
Clearly.
fund guys in America at the moment. Amit gets them thinking time. Yeah.
So her
Sorry,
exact tweet
not with the
was,
quote. Let me do the quote. I interrupted it. Yeah. The quote,
yeah,
bro.
her exact tweet was, her exact tweet was she posted like 3 photos of Nathuram Godse, and her exact tweet was, every story has 3 sides to it: yours, mine, and the truth. a good storyteller neither commits nor conceals, and that's why our textbooks suck, full of
Borrowed
exposition.
phrase, famous line from way back when, that there in marriage there are three truths: the husbands, the wives, and the truth. It's a takeoff on that. Yeah. Go
Yeah,
on. Sorry.
and so that's it. That's a just saying. She's saying our that's why our textbooks suck.
I would like to
They're
live in
full
a
of exposition.
world where people are allowed to have opinions. Have your damn opinion. If you think Hitler did the right thing, that's your opinion. I don't think you have to stop people's opinions. I just feel there's something wrong with that. It's
I
almost like,
agree.
for me, I hate that. Then of course I want to disagree and argue and have banter and discourse and whatever with that person
Yeah.
over whatever topic. But no violence, no crossing any lines, but free thought and free speech.
But you're still supporting a serial killer, or not a serial killer, or supporting a murderer
You can
or a
support Ted
terrorist.
Bundy
That's
or Charles
fine.
Manson. I don't care. That's your thought
No,
process.
so here's the thing, Antariksh. So again, I don't agree with any of this, right? But having
Yeah,
said that, the man was a political assassin, right? Who
yeah,
took things based on political ideology, right? Who
yeah.
decided to do what he did based on political ideology. By shutting down any conversation about him,
Exactly, like it doesn't exist. That's
That's true.
wrong.
yeah.
That's bizarre. This is medieval.
But at the same time, I mean, like from what I do know of what his ideology is, I have nothing but contempt for it.
Let them have their point of view. Everyone should have their point of view, and then
Yeah.
you argue it. And that's the way it is. What else?
And yeah, and I mean, like
Otherwise
mock
you're
it,
bullying.
and yeah, you can mock it. You can kind of like say it's full of shit. All that you're allowed to do, right? But I
See,
mean, like,
let me put on record. I'm not saying this out of fear. I'm actually a huge Gandhi fan. Not from the point of view that he was a great saint, but from the point of view that he was very human, because I've read lots of stuff on him and was able to do whatever he was able to do from the human angle. Whether he was standing at the station waiting for the photographers to come and take his picture, so he would take the next train because they hadn't come on time. These are insights about the man. Okay, but I admire that rather than just you glorify a person into a god. Having said that, how can we have any sense of democracy without the idea that we have to allow the other person to speak? I mean, that's that's the fundamental point.
Yeah,
well, I
So
agree.
true.
forget Kangana or Kunal Kamra. That's not important who the person is. I just say people have a point of view. What is wrong is hurting, violence, burning, causing destruction. Then on in less tangible ways like not giving a job, removing from a job. Those kind of things. That's just ridiculous. But banter, discourse, a little sledging, no problem. I think it should be allowed. And who's to draw
Yeah,
the line? You're saying, okay, we
absolutely.
can't do religion, but we can do this. I mean, like I said, I may get offended because making fun of men with double chins. That's something that upsets me much more than, I mean, isn't it true? You
It
localize
is
something, and what really offends, say you and me are not very religious. We're
right.
really not going to get bothered about religion, unless you really go on and then, insult someone and just lose it. But, everybody's got their own offense
Yeah,
meter. How the fuck are you going to ever get that right? It's
you
rubbish.
can't, and you shouldn't have to, right? I mean, like, it's not even an attempt that should need to be made because, again, see, this is the problem, right? The fact that we take the fundamental problem is that, right? Freedom of speech is not freedom of speech if you don't have the right to offend. It really is fundamentally that, right? I mean, like, and there's no getting around that. In India, people take getting offended as like violence, right? I remember. This is not completely related, right? But I mean, like, somewhat this, right? So this was about 10-15 years ago. Okay, I had to go to the BCA club, Garware club, BCA
Yeah.
club. I had to go over there, and basically, I think we hadn't paid the maintenance for 1 year or something like that because we never used the club, right? And then had to go and pay it again or something like that. And there was some rule that they had which said that you have to make checks in a specific way or something like that. And it was my mom's check. No, I couldn't write a check. My mom had to write a check because it was on her bill. I'm like, dude, I'm just giving you the money. Just fucking take it, right? And they're like, no, no, the check has to come from here. And I was like, no, this is a stupid rule. And the guy who I was talking to got so offended. Like, you're calling me stupid. How dare you call me stupid? You're
He
calling my
didn't make the
life source
rule.
stupid. I'm like, dude, what
But
I'm saying is a
He is
stupid rule.
stupid. He didn't make the rule. The rule came
Yeah,
from upper management. He's
exactly.
just picking
I
up the
think
check
wait a
from you.
minute.
But I think it's just like, he took such deep, grave offense to that, right? That I used the word stupid in his presence about the activity that he
No,
was conducting.
you weren't abusing him. It was a stupid rule. See, personal
Yeah,
abuse goes towards the violent thing. So I would say once you get into personal abuse, you're hitting that line of
No,
control.
but I
But
agree
you
with you
said
that
stupid rule.
I
Stupid rule
said
is
stupid rule,
perfect.
but the
Yeah.
thing is just that this guy, right? And I consider emblematic in that sense that we look at offense as something that is
He just heard the word and took offense. He
yeah.
wasn't able to process because he actually was stupid. Irony there, which
yeah,
you've served completely.
yeah.
So it's really sad.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. How can you not argue? Why are you there? Why should you just accept the payment? Why can't
Exactly.
you? It's a democracy. You think it's wrong? I mean, then just have a stamp in your forehead saying, "I'm a complete idiot. Please do what you want to me, sexually and financially, because I don't care." It's pointless. Of course,
Yeah.
we have to be allowed to argue. That's why we're in a so-called democratic
Yeah.
situation where everywhere we go, we can. I want. My mom says, "Don't argue with the cop." Why can't I argue with the cop? I don't believe he's right. If I don't believe he's right, I want to put my point of
Yeah.
view out, and then we
I
follow the process.
agreed. I agree with you
Oh,
100%.
Yeah.
just
Absolutely.
oh, they
Yeah.
they have a hard life. They're in the sun. What up, mommy? What sun? I also have a hard life. I have to pay for everybody in the house. Don't give me about how much I don't know what is it with Malba Hill people and this leftist fraudgiri that they do. They live in their ivory towers and their happy lives, and then they feel bad for everybody else. I'm like, why are you feeling bad? It's almost disrespectful. He's doing a job. He gets paid. He's got good police housing. He gets retirement fund. Everything. What are we worried about? Let him stand in the sun. And by the way, how many of them stand in the sun? That I'd like to see,
Not too many.
because between one to
Yeah.
four, there are not too many challans doing the rounds.
Yeah.
That's the best time to break the law. And if
Yeah.
you are a fan of the show, please write in as quickly as you can. In the meantime, AMAs,
AMAs,
Yes.
AMAs.
AMS.
off
Do
we
we have
go.
questions in the chat?
Yeah. We have some great ones. All right. The first one comes in from Kashin Shetty. He says, Amit, will you be my CA? I have never understood business or stock talk
What
in my
Amit's been
life.
through the last 2 years, don't want to give him that
Yeah.
job right now. Let him recover fully.
He's just complimenting you. He said, I have never understood business or stock talk in my life, but your explanation just opened my eyes. Thank you.
That's
Okay.
because
Uh,
that's because when they have these CNBC, or I won't take brand names, when they have the experts chatting, I've always noticed they're talking like cricket pundits talk about cricket. If you want to talk to everybody, you've got to make it far more easy.
You have
The
to.
jargon cannot be, you just can't throw these things at people. The
Cyrus,
people have to,
can
yeah.
you move your mic a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I this is the same thing with textbooks. I don't know if you guys accept that. I do believe there's no need to start with Premchand and Shakespeare. You start talking to people normally in textbooks, so the kids pick it up. Then they will want to learn the more sophisticated, the higher form of learning
I
that is
agree.
available. The same thing with finance. We all run away from finance, from opera, from golf, from synchronized swimming, from anything which is ridiculous, because we can't pick it up initially, because the people who present it try to act like Brahmins. "Eh, mera territory hai, and I will not share it with you. So just get intimidated by big words." So Amit, what you've done is a good thing. I think you've brought it to the common man. Maybe we've opened a new chapter in your life. Maybe you could be that conduit, that middle guy between a super financial expert, and the layman. Think about it. A
I
new
sh-
podcast on the anvil.
well, I think that's
Amit,
what
Amit.
Anupam does that for us on Pesa Vesa, the
uh,
amazing IVM podcast,
I,
financial podcast, which people
no,
should
no, no,
listen
no.
to.
You don't interfere with him. It's not rivalry. Yours is talking to the common man, like the guy who sent in the message.
No, but that's what Anupam does,
But
and that's
he's
why.
not talking to the common man, is he? He's just
No,
making
he
good
very
points.
much is. So what he's doing is he's talking to people who are financial
Oh,
experts and dumbing
then
it
we
down.
have to sack Anupam. Tell him I'm sorry, because I've got the title and I want to share my new title for Amit's new podcast. It's called Amit Ways. Now, here's the double meaning. It's Ways, like Ways, but it's also because he's slightly hefty. Ways, Wighs. So I'm sorry, Anupam. Writing you a check for 3 months, and off you go on your bike. Okay, sorry. Next one.
all right. Next one, another one from Kashin Shetty. He says, is Cyrus a winter person? This winter in Bombay has been pleasantly cold. How does he deal with this weather, or does he even feel cold at all?
I don't feel cold. And in fact, I was in Alibag on Saturday, Sunday, and the ex-head of Chetra, Leo Burnett, called us over. Yeah, yeah, I'm dropping names, but I'm dropping names because they actually had a little argument over whether the fan should be on, and etc. And I was the only one in a room
Who
of
wanted
eight
AC?
people. No, I always do the same thing. I say, I'm sorry, but if you can see, my armpits are sweating. So and my wife gets so embarrassed and irritated. He has to be different and he has to behave like this. And then now she just openly says it. But I do feel like the minority is minority when it comes to heat. Amit, you are somewhat like that.
Yes,
We've discussed this. We're just a few of us who really suffer because there's no sense of feeling cold. You have to make it really cold for us to feel it. So what can I tell
I
you?
would agree with that. I like it's been nice though. Huh? I mean, like I have been able to like sit windows open, fan on without needing an AC for a
Your
while.
mood gets better if the weather.
Uh,
I mean, my mood gets better immediately. I
oh, good
just
God, yes. I'm not
yeah.
irritable at all
Yeah,
compared
I'm
to
telling you, there's a
yeah.
huge yeah.
Like in May, I'm short. I'm short with people, right?
If,
I
and if you're already impatient, May is a horrible month,
yeah.
because there's no way that check thing with the MCA would have gone well in May. You would have said stupid motherfucker. you would have just said stupid. It was in winter months, so stupid was all you used. I respect that. Amit Ways coming soon.
All right. Next one comes in from VB. He says, Cyrus, what are your thoughts on a guy dating when estranged from his spouse for more than 2 years? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You can
Of
be
course,
estranged.
as in dating
May-
somebody else, obviously.
yeah, dating
He
somebody
should
else.
do
Yeah.
it while he was still with her. What's wrong with him? Isn't that what? No, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, we used to get these questions in that HC column I used to write before lockdown took away the column and love. There's no quantifying all this. People say, "Oh, he's only dead 1 week." I'm saying if it's my family member, you don't tell me when I do what I do. It's not anybody else's business. If X takes 15 days to mourn someone or 20 days to get over loss of a relationship, a breakup, I mean, why will it take 40 days? How do we quantify it? What's the point of that? So, whenever you're ready to move on, you move on. And you
Yep.
don't want to disrespect the other person, whatever, you wait a little while and then you move on. But honestly, there's a hypocrisy to it. It's about you and you alone. So you just decide to move on. It's not when seven friends of yours say, आज तो ठीक है, अगला मंगलवार पे 5 बजे के बाद नाश्ता खा के तू जा, हाँ, उसके पीछे जा. Her name is Gitanjali. Huh? She is software engineer. What the fuck, man? Well, Silverie, did you wait? The next day after the woman left you in the lurch and went off to Indonesia, you were on Tinder. No, sorry. What is the young Tinder? There must be
Uh,
another app.
yeah,
Don't expose us to the world. What is the young Tinder, man?
I think
Linder.
Tinder is the young
Tin-
Tinder, isn't it?
Tinder,
No!
Bumble.
Kunal Vijayakar is on Tinder. Amit,
What?
what's wrong with you?
Okay.
That's
We're talking about
bullshit.
Bumble. I talking about
Young,
Bumble.
yeah, Bumble is. Nah.
Hinge or something like that.
See, man,
Yeah.
young hip people will not be on Tinder. I'll tell you honestly, Tinder is my generation and above. And I've been told by some women who've been on it, and I've spoken to and said you'll be surprised at how many people you know are on Tinder. Let's do a show on that. If you can find out who the real guy is, we swipe right to everyone, and we see where it goes. You'll get your midget porn and everything, my brother. You watch. All apologies to anybody. We don't
All
want
right.
to offend
Uh,
any member of society, big or small. Yeah, but we do, but
yeah.
not really.
Next one. Varun Nambiar asks, why is Cyrus in a BMC office?
I wish I was. Trust me, I'd have much more friends. Imagine your vaccines will be sent home. So everybody will be, ding dong. Guy comes with a vaccine. Talk, brocha ne beja. Ah. Yeah. Sorry, no BMC office, but this is somewhere in next to the Reserve Bank. Actually, this is very much a lawyer stockbroker area. If you grow up in South Mumbai, this is where you'll meet all those guys. So the offices are a little stark, if you like. And my dad was an old-fashioned lawyer with no sense of style in that sense, except that he used to have he always had a lighter in his pocket, which is something I don't see anymore. This is one thing I'll always miss growing up. No, Amit, the guys who smoke, you always have a
Yeah,
lighter,
always.
and the ones with a little more money would have gold lighter, and that was a real sense of pizzazz about that. Now, though, you're just a guy outcast from society. Lighter, huh? Never heard of it. I'm telling you, there'll be a generation after Silverie, they won't know what a lighter is. I guarantee you.
I'm not surprised if that happens fairly quickly now at this point.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
just to tell who was it? Mr.
Uh,
Nambiar, if I remember
Nambiar,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Nambiar.
so we are working on that. My wife's paintings are going to come at the back here, but there's a false ceiling which has to be removed. I've just been told. So in a few days, and then we'll make it nice and colorful, so it'll be less like a.
it'll look like a real background.
But we never know what a BMC office looks like today. I haven't been in. You never know. This is
No,
another
no, so
generation.
some BMC offices are
Swanky.
slick.
There you go.
Some
Yeah.
of them are slick. Some of them are very much like
Yeah.
metal
Now,
chairs and like red for lots of file
but Amit, I think
folders
we're
and
in
stuff.
for a shock because the government, what we grew up in the 80s and 90s, the idea of Babudom and
Hmm.
the offices and all that's going, huh?
No, no, dude. You go
More
to
hip, more swanky.
I've been only to a few BMC offices, but you go to Mantralaya, right, for the state government
Yeah,
offices,
yeah.
dude. That is absolutely put like on par with most offices.
Is it
They're
true?
really well made.
In the Mantralaya, you can get a free samosa if you wait more than 3 hours, but you have to put an application in triplicate, but you can still get it. That's
I
what I
have
heard.
unfortunately never had to spend 3 hours, or fortunately never had to spend 3 hours over there.
Would be a good place to kill time in between jobs, as far as I'm concerned. Maybe I'll find someone with a phone watching something interesting.
That would be
Yeah.
Vidhan Sabha, not Mantralaya.
Oh, hey, Kamra, calm down. All right.
No, yeah, no, I'm just making
Let's take a horse from the middle path and let the others fight the battle.
no. It was a legislator that did it.
Yeah,
No,
you have the
you're
poetic
Yeah.
license, Amit Doshi. You do Amit ways and
uh,
explain everything.
no, but I'm just saying the bureaucrats are they actually do give a shit, right? What we were just talking about, right? Do they give a
Yeah,
shit or not? Most bureaucrats give a shit.
they
The
do.
legislators are the ones who don't.
I do get along, I must say, with IS and IPS officers
Yeah.
much better than maybe the rank and file of. But political class also is not really. I think it all depends on where you come from. The commonality between people is not to do with their profession. It's to do with a certain subculture of who you are and where you come from and all. That makes a big bit of a
True.
difference. Yeah.
True.
Silvery, last one.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
one last
sure.
one.
Last one.
53.
Yeah.
Okay, this one. Vivek Ravi asks, Cyrus, do you think you would have killed it in the online dating scene?
I don't know. I think my best weapons are live. What am I going to write? I might get bored and write anything. Also, haven't you noticed one thing? If you do anything on email, well, not email, but on a digital format, you either overvalue or undervalue yourself. It's almost impossible to find the real you.
Mm.
That's what I've noticed. That depending on personality types, they'll undervalue themselves completely, or they'll oversell. And then where do you go from there? Also, the other reverse, what your mind expects the girl to be, etc. And and how do you get over that? Because the first meeting, and you'll have many of those if you use online dating. How do you hide your emotions? I'm pretty transparent that way. I'm not good at that. I'm like, oh my god, Ritu, is that you or your brother? I mean, what the hell? A pal of mine went to McDonald's Bandra this many years ago because the mom was finally gave up and he said, okay. So he met the girl, and after everything was done online and chatting on the phone, but not really. Well, the pictures are, come on, man. Mr. Doji, pictures tell you nothing. So then went to McDonald's. And I swear to you, Gotham, if you're listening somewhere in Australia, God help you. But he went, he saw her because she said red dress and all that. This is still the 90s. They had to give a lot of information. He saw her. He
Right.
ran. He didn't pay the bill. He had ordered a drink or coffee or whatever. He didn't pay. McDonald's, he must have paid it. And he ran. He just ran. And he never looked back. And then he told us the story. I was like, man, how can you do that with a poor chick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah.
that is kind of harsh.
Yeah.
It would kill your confidence, Silvery. I think it's
Yeah.
a very dangerous thing to do,
For
both
sure. Yeah.
ways. Yeah.
Very true.
No, I would have killed it. I'd have killed it.
So yeah, I think you'd have been good at it, man. I mean, like be a so I mean, like crack a couple of jokes and say let's meet, right? I mean, like, that's and that would kind of work.
Listen,
You'd be good with it.
I finally married a girl with no sense of humor. So that tells you everything. Honestly, she unbelievable. On the drive back from Alibag, all she says is "shut up." That's our conversation. Me and Maya were talking in Chinese accents, which is politically incorrect. Hello, what's you doing? You're doing a rubbish thing. After that, she shut up. It's like that's. So I don't know. So with adult women of a certain vintage, I'd really struggle. I think.
But
Yeah.
I've got to say that I understand Aisha's point of view over there. It could get irritating if you're doing it for like more than.
For the whole drive, it
Yeah,
was
so
a challenge.
I,
And about
I,
20 minutes into it, she lost it.
I can see that. I can see that getting her to the
How
point
do you
of.
kill time for 3 hours in a car, man? You got to do these silly
Dude,
games.
1 second. How can you ask that question as a host of a podcast?
All right.
Seriously,
All
how
right.
can you ask that
And
question?
and if you log into the whole truth, you'll get 20% off if you use Cyrus. Huh? Remember that. That's just a little tip from me. Huh? Happy
The
Diwali in
wholetruthfruits.com.
Jan.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, are we done? Good
Yes, I
day.
think we're good.
Yes. We're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you soon.
All right.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Just hold on.